My name is Ray. When you ever think of see the sunshine, think of Ray. I live in Croydon still. I've come back to live in Croydon. I've been all over the world, but I live in Croydon now. And I want to get Croydon back on the map because Croydon helped me to see the world. And I really want to add something to Croydon. That's me, Ray Howard. I came to Croydon I think it was '84 because I think that I did the poster for the leaving for the leaving show. What's it called? What's the end of year show? End of term show in '86. So I think I came in '84, right? And I can still remember, and I came to do graphics. And I remember the interview to get in. I sat down. I can't remember the lady's name, but she was fantastic. And the first thing that she asked us was draw a telephone from memory, right? Now a telephone back in the day when I was had a telephone had. Remember that too? So we basically I had to remember drawing that thing. Now the reason why I can totally remember it is that when I used to ring her with Juliet, was my dad had found out that you could buy a lock for the phone, right? And so we put a lock on the thing, and we found out that if you tapped the numbers out on the thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, 2, 3, 10 is 0, and then the numbers subsequently, you could ring a number. It's kind of Croydon, setting up for the future career. Basically, I went from Croydon. I went to Bournemouth to do my HND. But I can tell you this: when I was in Croydon, and when I came to Croydon College, they gave me so much the scope of things that we did. Right, bookbinding. Right, we had the fashion students down the road from us, just down the corridor. So I would work late at night all the time, and we would collaborate with the fashion girls. I did the graphics for their end of year show as well, and I helped them with doing their étoiles and all that kind of stuff when they were doing so. But the foundation, but it was almost more like a foundation course, the ND course, the National Diploma course, and I did so many brilliant things there. It was like the bookbinding, the screen printing, from hard letterpress, right? Having to remember I can't read forwards. It was even harder reading backwards. It was all those things were taught to me in this college. That's why I'm doing this right now, and that's why I want to give something back to this place, because this place gave me a great deal. The things I've done since leaving here, and it was again from the things that the guys taught me, first job was as a graphic designer, as it was called then. It then developed into becoming. They then turned it into an art director role, but it was a graphic designer role when I went. But from there, I've designed shoes. I've designed things for Ferrari. I've designed three-dimensional things, and that's one of the things I think that I learned here was to design or think about design on more of a 360-degree basis. Right? It's not just about what's flat on the page. Think about, we were given a block of wood one time, was an old project, and they asked us to pick a letter from any typeface you wanted, any font you wanted, and to basically, in the woodwork section, cut that letter out. Now, lots of guys chose sans serif, capital L's, which wasn't but I decided to choose an old English A, letter A. And from that letter A, I had to cut with a hand saw, file down. It took about 3 or 4 weeks to finish it, but I still got that letter A now. And from that letter A, I actually developed my logo, which I use now, which is, and you're going to see this, is based on that. That is based on my logo, but the letter A that I did here at Croydon College. It's now on my skin. It's now in everything I do. An art director, in the traditional sense, actually usually works in a collaboration with a copywriter on advertising products. That's what it used to be. Now, a lot of people used to ask me what an art director does and what's the difference between an art director and a graphic designer, and I would say it's about, my joke was, it's about £20,000, right? So, but an art director, as far as I'm concerned, and there's differences subtle differences from graphic design and art direction, and an art director can think of things more holistically, and an art director, usually the projects I work on are there to entertain someone, whereas more the graphic designer is there to inform someone, right? Now that doesn't mean that's the only thing that graphic design do, because I don't want to slag off graphic design because that's the course I came here to do. But for instance, if I land in a foreign country, the fantastic people who graphic design where the toilets are when I land on that plane and tell me directly, graphically, where the loos are, which ones are male and female, that's information that I need to have, right? Now, in between that, if I'm on the way to the loo, when I land in the airport, if I see a TV ad, it's usually I'm trying to stop you from going to the toilet and entertain you by showing you the art direction that I've done on that ad, poster-wise or whatever it would be. As an art director, some of the things that you may have seen I've done, if you last went to an airport and seen some of the HSBC ads that are down the tunnels as you walk onto the plane, the HSBC ads you see, or the HSBC the advertising on the outside of the things, especially Gatwick, but this was a global campaign. I worked at HSBC, the campaign was about the benefits of local knowledge, and it was the world's local bank was the idea. So we were looking at things like what cultural things were happening around the globe and what similarities we had all as human beings, and that's what I loved about it, because most of my art direction, most of the ideas I come up with are based on a human reality, because I'm a human. So HSBC was one of the biggest ones. One of the smaller ones you know would be the Tesco Clubcard. The biggest skill that I think anyone wanting to get into the creative industry or have anything make money out of creativity is always be open to what is going on, and don't put yourself, and try to be open in a way that you don't characterize the people that you work with. So for instance, what I'm trying to mean by that is I've worked on BMW. I could never afford to be up by BMW. As I just told you before, I've done a global campaign across the globe for HSBC. I haven't got any money, but that doesn't mean I couldn't come up with a campaign. So you don't have to be involved in the thing, and it's almost better for you to be separate to a project that you're going to be working on, for you to be able to go, actually, I'm not the person who's going to buy this thing, but if I was, I'd do this. So for instance, I think it'd be a great ad for a ball guy to do a shampoo ad, because I really, really would like to have hair. It is perceived that Croydon's got a negative image problem, but I do believe that, my personal point of view is that I quite like the thought that we have got an image problem, or a problem, at least that people are now talking about it. Now all we've got to do is turn that negative into a positive, because the conversation's already started, and all we've got to do is change the conversation to be positive. And I think that if you just look at it graphically, a minus sign is this. If I take two of those minus signs and turn it the other way, it becomes a plus sign. What I would advise a 16 to 18 year old to do is to basically absorb as many things as they can that are around them. Look at these things from EastEnders to MTV, and absorb as many of those things as you possibly can. Take on board all those things. Listen to as many genres of music as well. Don't listen to one genre of music. That's one of the important things, because if you do become successful in this industry, not all advertising or products that you're going to be promoting have to have rap in them, right? Research is, if, for instance, if you're going on the way to buy your mum a pint of milk or pint of milk and coffee, just have a look at some of the buildings. And one of the biggest tips for research is look up. Don't just look at the ground above you. Look at some of the tiling. Look at some of the rooftops. Look at what people have done with their hedgerows. Has someone got a gnome in their garden? Why have they got a gnome in their garden? Just take on board, just be a sponge and take in as many things as you possibly can. You don't have to tell anyone those things, by the way. They can just be thoughts in your own head. And when you want to bring them out, you can bring them out. Research is really important for a creative, I believe, because if you're immersed in as many things as possible, then anything a project that someone gives you, you have got a background in that to give an answer to that brief, right? One of the biggest tools I use in my research are these. Listen to what people are saying. Because you're going to meet, if you're in a meeting with someone, that doesn't mean you have to be the one who makes the noise. Just listen to what other people are saying, and sometimes someone may say something, and sometimes I've come up with an idea at the end of a meeting because I just listened to what other people wanted. Client, or the people that are on my team, anything. Great piece of research material. I do believe that it's a virtue. Listening is a virtue. The way I plan and organise to do a meeting or come up with a campaign with a client is, first off, we'll go down the pub. Now, not necessarily to have anything to drink, it's just to have that be in a social circumstance, which is a controlled environment, a bit more relaxed, and we then start talking about ideas and seeing what our mums would think about these things, if our grands could get the idea that we were coming up with. The way I look at the pre-stage production side of things is basically it doesn't matter if you can't draw. If you can write, then you can write down some thoughts, scribble them down. I'm not very good at writing, but I'll scribble little sketches down of things, and they may only make sense to me, but they're my own personal hieroglyphics. It's important because usually when you come up with an idea for something and you're about to show it to someone for the first time, you're going to get a buttload of questions piled upon you for those things. So researching that thought process and why you've come up with an idea can help you to defend your idea when someone asks you questions which would be awkward. In terms of practical skills, the way that I present them is it's unfortunately it gets less and less these days, but I try to be there present in the room with the humans that I need to be with. And rather than trying to do it over Zoom and everything, I think it's better because I'm much better live. Do I use a sketchbook? Absolutely. I know it doesn't have to be just a sketchbook. Anything that you can legally write on is something that you could put an idea on. And they used to say back in the day, it used to be the back of a fag packet. Nowadays it will probably be the inside of your vape packet. Turn it inside out, it's blank. You can use that, stuff it away. No one needs to see that idea until you need to see it again. I think that it's best to be singular with your ideas, because you have to try to remember that when you're presenting an idea to someone, they have come to you because they didn't have any ideas. So if you go in and give them 1, 2, 3 or 4, then you've got more things to try to knock down. If you have one singular idea, still have 2 or 3 in your back pocket, but be open to adapt that idea as you present it. So you may get some feedback at the end of that presentation. Someone may say something about that idea. Will you say, well, you know what, Ray, I don't like the colour pink because my wife doesn't like pink. Pink's not the problem, it's not a problem, we can make it yellow. Right, so I can adapt that thing as I go in there. As an art director, the way that I evaluate this thing is if I go to another part of my town, my country, the country, or go to another country and someone mentions something that they've seen that I've done, that's a great piece of evaluation. The other great thing I love about the thing that I actually do and the way I evaluate it is I sit back and I can hear someone talking about it. Now, you have to take the good and with the bad. If someone doesn't like something, an idea of yours, try to understand what they're saying and why they're saying it. Have it in your back pocket that you've got the ammunition, you've got the armour to defend that thing, if need be, but let people be allowed to have an opinion on something that you've done. Because something that I've done creatively is the maximum I can make that thing creatively is 50%. I can only take something 50%. Unless I never show anything to anyone ever at all, it's 100%, it's pretty brilliant. But if I've got to show someone something, the maximum I can take it is 50%. The person looking at what I've given them has to take it to the 100 or to as close to 100 as it possibly is. So you can only bring 50% of something because you have to show that idea to someone else and they have to have their opinion on it. So that's the other 50 can take to 100. Valuation is a continuous process for me because I will look at stuff in. I this morning went into my old portfolio, one of my old portfolios, and because of you should never be. I'm never satisfied with the thing that I've done because time has moved on. So I'll see something that I've done from college and I want to redo it. Right? The crux of the idea could be the same, but my art direction should change because the times have changed since I did it. So it's not. There's nothing ever done. That's it. It's not like a Van Gogh painting. Let's say it's stuck on the wall. It should always be alive and then be able to adapt to what's going on in the world today. If I look at News at 10 and something's going on at News at 10 that wasn't going on then, the world's changed. So I need to basically see if I can align that thing. And I know it will take me the whole rest of my life to do that thing. But can you think of anything better to do for the rest of my life? What I would advise a 63-year-old to put in their e-portfolio, is that what you call it, is what the advantage that you guys have got that I never had at the time was movement. A little tiny piece of animation goes a long, long way. You know when you send the smiling emoji, I didn't realise that when someone receives it, that smiling emoji actually, because when I see it, it looks flat. But when they see it, the guy looks and he's laughing. That little tiny bit of movement that you could put into an idea could make that thing come alive. Now that movement might be a digital piece of movement, or you could put your idea on a t-shirt and let someone walk down the street with it, take your phone out and video it and show how it would move across someone's body or on fabric. You've got movement, man. I didn't have that stuff. We had a flat piece, portfolio, flip, turn it over, flat piece of paper. Now, I did quite well from it, but if I had movement, I'd have been real dangerous. So sometimes reinvent the wheel, right? So if you see an ad or you see a project that's out there, see what would you do with that project, right? I mean, I was doing this thing with my son. He's gone into the creative industry as well. He's got a clothing line called Lone Wolfgang, and I said to him, what I'd love to do is not only to take some of my old stuff and give it to him to re-art direct my old ideas, to see what he would come up with. So sometimes don't always go, I'm trying to look for the new, trying to look for something brand new, because if I find something that no one's ever seen before, it's not going to be related to anybody. No one can relate to it. So if you've got something like Kellogg's cornflakes or milk, right? Something really boring. We used to do one of the great things when I was at Croydon College was they used to try and find us the most obscure product to try and work on, right? And one of them I remember was a flea spray for cats and dogs that gets rid of fleas off cats and dogs, right? Now. And you may think of that, it's not very glamorous, but those kind of things are the kind of things where you find a beautiful thing to do within that thing. Something that's so simple, it's like fleas are a horrible thing to think about, you know, cats and dogs are lovely to think about, but the things that attract them are horrible. They gave us one of those briefs, and if you want me to tell you, I'll tell you the thought I came up with. It was for a 10-second TV commercial, right? And there was a white background, and and on it, it said, it was called, I can't remember the name of the product, I think it was called Scent Off or something. And there's black typography on the white background, it said, Scent Off is the most effective way of killing fleas of cats and dogs. That was it, right? Then a hand came across with the spray and went across the typography, and all the typography was made of fleas. And it all fell to the ground. Put the product shop down, finished. I'm showing you the product in use, I'm showing you how effective it is, how quickly it is, in 10 seconds you can get rid of these things. Now, obviously, there's a bit of smoke and mirrors in reality, but what the idea I was trying to go is that we can get rid of fleas real quick. Bang, typography's gone, white background.